Hi everyone, Bandana here. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to Broken Arrow. Yes, it is finally here. It's currently in its advanced access period for a few days, and then the price of the game will drop by $10 and you can get it a little bit cheaper. You just won't get the skins from the Vanguard edition. That's 10 skins, and obviously the soundtrack's included in there as well. If that's not your thing, then you don't need to spend the extra money. You can just wait. So, today's video is more about what's in the game right now than anything else. Unfortunately, we didn't get advanced access beyond the advanced access, so I wasn't able to do a review for the release, as it were. I'm not sure if anyone else got it earlier, like the big outlets, but I haven't noticed any reviews yet, so that will be coming. It's just not here as yet. So, today let's focus on what is actually in this release of the game, because they're still working on things and still planning to add bits further down the line. So the first thing is, what are the play options? Well, obviously there is the War in the Baltic campaign. If you click on this, it takes you to the map. This is the first mission. You play as the USA. The first couple of missions you play as the US. However, it will then branch, and you can select the order to some extent of the missions you want to play, and some of them you'll play as the USA, and some of them you will play as Russia, and there will be smatterings of other factions that aren't in the multiplayer, such as, well, one would assume Lithuania will be in there somewhere, since it's in their territory at the moment. Then there is Quick Match, which will take you straight into the first available multiplayer match. Obviously, you can select a preference of playing as Russia or USA, or just go in random, if that's your thing. If we hit the play tab, you'll see you can access the campaign from here. You can access the multiplayer. If I click on multiplayer, you will see here you have Skirmish, Standard, and Scenario will be in that list as well. If we order it, there you go, there's a few scenarios in there. So, yeah, I'll just go back for a moment. Scenarios you can see via here. So there's two different ways to access scenarios. The first way is to click scenario there, and then if you select it, you can click play scenario. Now, what I will note here is if you click play scenario on this screen, it will take you straight into the scenario. You can't play with anyone else. To load a scenario, you need to go to play, multiplayer, and create a lobby if you want to play with other people. So you would then select here scenario. We'll just put in a random password. I'm not going to make it private. If I hit then create, you'll see that I can now choose one of the scenarios. So let's choose that one, click apply, and there you go. So here you will notice that we have AI slots filled there. We have an allied AI because they're scripted, and then we have a free slot for another player if we so wish. We can also lock that and just launch the game. So that is the option here if you're playing the scenarios, or you can launch it if you just want to play single player straight from the other menu. I'm just going to go back. So, as I say, scenarios all here. There is also the option here to edit scenarios and create scenarios, because this is the editor menu. Unfortunately, you can't go into most of these, but there is one you can take a look at, and that is Ruder Defense. They've left this one editable for some reason, but I'll show you the editor later in the video. So, the next thing and the last thing is Skirmish. So let me show you Skirmish. Skirmish is always through a multiplayer lobby. Let me just, again, private that lobby. So, here you need to choose a map before anything else. So, random choice, Black Coast. You will notice this immediately fills the enemy team with 5 AI. You cannot have AI on your team. You can lock 2 of these slots, but there are a minimum of 3 AI on the enemy team. And you have to have 3 players in total, so 2 others and yourself. You cannot play solo versus the AI in a skirmish way. And you can't have AI on your team. I'm not fully sure how these AI are functioning on the enemy team. I don't know if they're scripted in any way for each map, and they've done that themselves, or if the AI are indeed scripted in the sense of a standard skirmish AI, where they will just play in a certain way. I honestly don't know. But skirmish is not as skirmish would be in other games, basically. I assume they're heading towards that. But there was a lot of confusion about this on the run-up to launch, because for the longest time they said no skirmish, and then they suddenly started being vague about possibly, but not being clear on what was included. And then they said on Steam it was definitely in. It's in a way, but I feel like it was a bit misleading how they led into that. So I'm not being rude to them, genuinely not, but I just feel that was a little bit misleading towards players who are looking to pre-order the game and stuff. Skirmish is not in a traditional sense. It's just multiplayer versus the AI, basically. The only other way to do it is via the scenarios in the editor. Speaking of, let's go to the editor next and then have a look at the arsenal. So the editor is fully featured. It reminds me very much of the Operation Flashpoint style editors of years gone by, and lots of other games have sort of copied that concept. Let me show you their mission, because I've been having a little play around, but I haven't really added much. But we can have a look at Ruder Defense. So if I click Edit Scenario, just to give you an idea of how it will look. Now, I'm not sure if there's a manual for this at the moment. It is quite complex. It will take some fiddling about to get it working, but I know that some of the players have already started making fully featured missions. So this is what it looks like on the map. So as you can see, we've got sort of artillery stuck down here. We've got trigger zones. These will be familiar to anyone who's done similar missions and things in other games. You tend to have zones where there's a trigger, and if something goes into it, or this, that, and the other, then it activates the trigger, yada, yada, yada. Obviously, anyone who's done missions in Op Flash or the Armour series of games will have experience with that. There are then waypoints for the AI to follow. This is how the AI function. There isn't an option to just say AI come in the game. From what we can tell, you do have to script everything at the moment. Again, this goes back into the skirmish mode. I don't know how they've really done that. I don't know if they've scripted it as an enemy for every map to make it function correctly at the moment. But you do have to give full scripting for it to function in these scenarios. So it will take a bit of work. So obviously this is the stuff that you can see here. You can put down units, you can put down supplies, you can put down the actual capture points, Alpha here for example. Obviously enemy spawn points dotted around the map. Lots and lots of different waypoints and things that you can see, and units stuck down, anti-air patrols, yada yada yada. Now, obviously new unit, everything is listed there. You can put down objects, so these are your trigger zones and things like that. You can also put camera paths in, so you know, if you want a little intro movie and things like that, you can put in the camera paths. I like how they've put on there the movement is quite smooth. Scenario config, so the details of that scenario, the rules, the author, the game mode type, etc, etc, the default difficulty, team manager, so the different teams, the bots, etc, 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 task manager, so this is tasks that pop up and give you instruction, as far as I can tell anyway. Medals, so you can add medals as rewards to your missions if you want. Public options, I don't understand this yet. Script editor, so this is a node editor. As you can see here, relating to objectives, for example. So on objective captured, and then zone echo has been recaptured by the enemy. Obviously, these are all the instructions. This is how you will script the mission. So this is how you will get units to spawn. If I right click here, you can see there's audio stuff, base nodes, buildings, cameras, commands, economy, events, functions, gameplay, logic, misc, network, and spawn. So you can spawn units, spawn multiple units, etc, etc, etc. So there's lots of things that you will do within this node editor. No, it's not going to be straightforward. It is going to take a bit of learning. Hopefully some people will put out tutorials for this. If I can get my head around it, I'll try and do a tutorial video, because I'd like to be able to make my own missions in this. It's something I really enjoyed doing in the Armour series and the old Operation Flashpoint games. So I will hopefully get there and get my head around it. We can close that again now, but you can even just click play here to test it and things like that. So and you can change the map and everything else here, and you can have a look at all the objects that are down, the inspector, etc, etc, etc. So it is fully featured, this editor, but it's going to be reasonably involved. It's not going to be super straightforward. Now, in the early alpha, they put out a little video of the editor at the time, which made it look simpler to use. It's not going to be that simple, I'm afraid. It is a bit more complex than that. But this is also the editor that they're using to make their missions. So just as proof of concept, if you're playing any of their missions, that's the sort of thing that is possible. And I promise you the community will make more interesting stuff than the devs have, because that always happens with these types of editors. People work out interesting ways of doing stuff. So I have high hopes for the editor. I'm just going to... Do I want to save that? No, I don't want to save that. So editor is there. It is fully functional. It will take a bit of learning to get used to it and figure it all out. Now, last thing obviously is the Armoury is there. You can look at all of your pretty units in detail. Obviously you can turn up the graphic settings while you're in here as well if you want. And you can also change your skins. Now obviously there are various paint jobs to choose from. Some units, such as the SU-57, also have Vanguard Edition paint jobs. Some of the Vanguard paint jobs are nice. Some of them I think aren't as good as the standard ones. Like the SU-57, I quite liked the design of this, but I find the Vanguard one a little bit more basic. But I think this is down to personal preference. But you only get the Vanguard skins if you buy the Vanguard edition, though they have said they may consider releasing them separately in the future. They're not sure as yet. But there are 10 Vanguard skins in there. If you want those at the moment, you do have to buy the Vanguard edition. Obviously, if you wait till the 19th, when the full release happens, like not just the advanced access, then the Vanguard edition will be removed and you can get the game $10 cheaper. So if you're not bothered about the Vanguard edition skins playing early, and you're not bothered about having the soundtrack separately, then you can just wait till the final release. So that's everything that's in the game. Obviously the army builder is in there as well, with all of your specializations for both the US and Russia. I won't go into deck building today. I'm sure that can be for another video. So I hope that kind of explains what's in the game right now. Performance has been alright for me. I know some people have had mixed performance, so I think it's worth mentioning that. Obviously, it will depend on your system, what settings you can run the game at smoothly, etc, etc, etc. But as you can see, there are plenty of people playing the game right now. But I'll leave this video there. As I say, I really just wanted to get down quickly what was in the game right now, the whole situation with Skirmish, since it's not quite standard skirmish, and I feel, you know, people deserve to fully understand what is going on there before they buy the game. But the campaign is in. You can play through that now, obviously on varying difficulties, and you can play skirmish in multiplayer with other players. But thank you very much for joining me. I hope you are all enjoying Broken Arrow so far. Do let me know down in the comments how you're finding it. Let me know how you're finding the performance and things like that as well. And I will see you all soon for some more Broken Arrow.